From the ancient past to the 21st century, a story millions of years in the making. Now, unlock one of Earth's greatest secrets with Action News anchor John Pruitt on a journey to the farthest reaches of history and a distant corner of the world known as the Land of the Giants.
The dinosaurs we learned about in elementary school, the ones that made your jaw drop as a child, they were the little guys. For some reason, no one is sure why, the dinosaurs of South America simply grew. Scientists have identified the remains of meat eaters larger than T-Rex, plant eaters larger than Brachiosaurus. One species towered over all the others. Today it bears the name of the country where it lived, Argentinosaurus. With a body the size of a house and a brain the size of a golf ball, this behemoth was and still is, as far as we know, the largest animal ever to walk the earth.
For nearly a decade, footsteps have echoed through the Fernbank Museum of Natural History. Literally as well as figuratively, this giant atrium is the museum's heart. But the Great Hall, as it's known, has been conspicuously empty since Fernbank opened in 1992.
It was always part of the original plan to have dinosaurs in the Great Hall. And we just couldn't afford to do it in the beginning.
Anita Kern is Fernbank's Director of Exhibits and Education. Perhaps, she says, the Great Hall has been waiting all this time. 10 years ago, you see, the world did not yet know of the existence of Earth's largest dinosaurs.
I said, you know, if you wanted to do the hottest, neatest thing in paleontology, really cutting edge, what would it be? And they said, well, you know, all the really neat new things are coming out of Argentina.
The neat new things coming out of Argentina are actually neat old things. To learn more, look no further than the pages of National Geographic magazine and its 1997 profile of a paleontologist named Rodolfo Correa.
There are so many bones, so many things to do, that I think one life is not enough. It's not long enough.
Dr. Correa has devoted his life to the study of dinosaurs in his native country, and there is much to study. Here in the desert of Patagonia, some of the most exciting developments in the history of paleontology are taking place, and Correa has the best seat in the house.
Most of the Patagonian surface is still unexplored.
Around the world, about 10 new species of dinosaur are found in any given year. Dr. Correa is situated at Ground Zero, the small town of Plaza Huincu. Each and every year, within a 2-hour drive of this remote outpost, someone, occasionally a scientist, but often enough a farmer, oil worker, or auto mechanic, comes across an entirely new species of dinosaur. Accidental or not, their finds account for 10% of the world total.
Working in this area has to be a paleontologist's dream.
Or sometimes it's a paleontologist's nightmare.
There is, Correa says, far more work than workers or money to pay them. On the floor of a small room in the back of the Carmen Funes Museum rests the partial backbone of Argentinosaurus. Its identification as the largest dinosaur known to man touched off an explosion of new discoveries.
Over a dozen fossilized bones have now been found, all but one from the same dinosaur, a dinosaur that had over 200 bones. They are the only known remains of Argentinosaurus and barely hint at the size of this gentle monster.
Dinosaurs are not necessarily the first things that come to mind when one thinks of Argentina. This Latin American country is birthplace of the tango, a dance and style of music which has captured the imagination of romantics worldwide. Argentina is also known for such things as gauchos, soccer, and the best beef in the world.
Most Americans have very little familiarity with Argentina other than what they might have picked up from Evita, the musical and movie about the life of Eva Perón, who lies buried here in the Recoleta Cemetery in Buenos Aires.
To the city's poet laureate, Jorge Luis Borges, Buenos Aires was as eternal as air and water. Designed after European cities like Paris, this is a surprisingly sophisticated metropolis of 12 million people, boasting gorgeous buildings, wide streets, idyllic parks. English is rarely spoken, although many companies from the U.S. and even Georgia have a visible presence here.
Yet the vitality of Buenos Aires is deceptive. The economy is failing, and throughout this beautiful country, there is massive poverty and unemployment. There's also the vast desert of Patagonia, a desert where buried treasure is hidden, in a manner of speaking.
Don Lessem, who now mounts dinosaur exhibits around the country, is a former science writer whose work for newspapers and magazines reawakened his childhood passion for dinosaurs. He left everything else behind to become Dino Don, author of more than a dozen books about dinosaurs.
Justin is holding something very important to science. It tells us all about how dinosaurs ate, because what Justin is holding is dinosaur poop. It was like coming back to sort of rediscovering my past. Dinosaurs for me were such an obsession.
In 1995, as fate would have it, Don Lessem happened to attend a convention in Seattle, where a rather shy, soft-spoken paleontologist had come looking for help. Lessem noticed Dr. Rodolfo Correa sitting off to himself, quietly sorting through some photographs.
So he's sitting there in a corner with pictures of an animal that beats T-Rex, the king for 100 years. And unless somebody came over and happened to strike up a conversation, as I did, it would have gone unnoticed.
Correa wasn't asking for that much money, just enough to keep his work going. And Lessem promptly offered everything he could manage to scrape together in the way of financing.
In return, the government of Argentina gave him exclusive rights to reproduce Argentinosaurus and Giganotosaurus. But for Lessem, there was a problem: where to display these tremendous monsters.
Space in most museums is hard, if not impossible, to find, let alone space large enough for the kind of scene Lessem envisioned. Then he saw the Great Hall at Fernbank.
That space was a void, and a beautiful void. And to me, when I see a beautiful space, I think, oh, what dinosaur can go in here? I don't know that everybody feels that way about it, but for me, well, that's how I do my decorating.
Everything came together at just the right time. Fernbank wanted dinosaurs from the land of the giants, and Don Lessem just happened to have them.
The only one of its kind, Argentinosaurus, will be the centerpiece of a dinosaur scene more ambitious than any ever attempted.
Dinosaur factory going on here.
But the work must be carried out under less than ideal circumstances. For political reasons, sculpting of the bones will take place in Plaza Wincul, the small town where the dinosaur was found. Jobs here are few, the economy almost extinct. The government of Argentina has given its permission for Argentinosaurus to be reproduced only if a labor force of local tradesmen is used. For the people of Plaza Wincul, the greatest hope, perhaps the only hope, is a creature that died 100 million years ago. It is a project that will forever link the city of Atlanta with the land of the giants.
We'll have more from the Badlands of Argentina when we return.
Land of the Giants, a special presentation of WSB-TV. Produced in cooperation with the Fernbank Museum of Natural History. We return to Land of the Giants.
This old building used to be a hospital, then a high school. Now it is the reason anyone comes to Plaza Huincul.
Surprisingly, it is here, seated at his computer and not out in the field, that Dr. Correa experiences the greatest thrill of his life. It comes at the precise moment he realizes he has found something new.
Can you give me a sense of the excitement you have felt over the past decade in being at ground zero of some of the most important paleontological discoveries of our time?
It's just a shaking moment that everything is shaking inside you, but you are not shaking actually, but you feel that you are falling apart and something like that, you know?
The story of how Rodolfo Correa came to Plaza Huincul as a student of paleontology and why he decided to stay on as curator of the town's small, underfunded museum is as remarkable as the place itself.
In 1987, a sheep rancher stumbled across what he thought was a piece of petrified wood right here. It turned out to be so much more.
Soon recognized as a fossil, it was brought to the local museum, but no one had any idea what kind of dinosaur it was from. They did know one thing: it was big.
This is the Argentinosaurus place, where it died and where we discovered it.
Correa's mentor, Dr. Jose Bonaparte, passed through Plaza Huincul a few years after some of the bones had been put on display.
So this was purely by chance that he happened to stop by the museum and see these bones?
It was just a chance.
Bonaparte, curator of a museum in Buenos Aires, is Argentina's most famous paleontologist. He spent his professional life collecting new species from the desert he loves, a career devoted to answering one question: why did dinosaurs grow to be such giants here and nowhere else?
Argentinosaurus is the biggest sauropod of the Cretaceous.
Bonaparte knew that the fossil remains in Plaza Huincul belonged to a plant eater, but he was struck by their size, far larger than anything he had ever seen.
So the people at the museum drove him up here, and he saw in that area that there were more fossil bones still in the ground.
To supervise his excavation, Bonaparte called in his protege, Rodolfo Correa. Including the fossils already at the museum, they recovered a total of 13 bones, all but one from the same dinosaur. It took 7 years.
No, it was not easy at all. This rock, it seems to be very soft, but once you just scratch the surface, you hit completely solid rock. And the hardness of the rock is just like concrete. We were digging as far we can from the bones. So we left a good space behind the limits of the bones that we collected.
So that's how you came to Plaza Huincul?
Yeah, because of this dinosaur.
But as Dr. Correa settled into a new life in Plaza Huincul, calls started to come in, at least one a day. Calls from people who had found something. And every now and then, the something really was something. And such was the case in 1993. A local auto mechanic named Ruben Carolini had unearthed a fossil near the town of El Chacon, 30 miles southeast of Plaza Huincul. Correa confirmed that the bones belonged to a carnivore, never before seen, a deadly giant larger than T-Rex, larger in fact than any other meat eater in history.
That this was the dominant creature in the history of the world, and yet until 10 years ago, we didn't even know what it was. And now it's here in Atlanta.
This is the actual skeleton of Giganotosaurus. Because almost all the pieces were found, it is a fairly simple matter to recreate this fearsome meat eater for display. Not so when it comes to Argentinosaurus. Only the bones shown here in black, 13 out of nearly 200, have actually been found. Even the skull is missing. But 21st century science is filling in the blanks. Technology developed for use on space shuttles and the International Space Station has enabled dinosaur experts to recreate the missing pieces at an aerospace facility in Canada.
That story when we return.
And still ahead, life and death in the land of the giants. It's dinosaur versus dinosaur. But who would win?
We return to Land of the Giants.
There would have been a lot more trees back then than there are now, so it would be billions and billions and billions of trees. Huge trees.
In the foothills of the Andes, there exists a place known as the Monkey Puzzle Forest. This, Hall Train believes, is what the world of dinosaurs in South America looked like, with one notable exception. When Argentinosaurus and Giganotosaurus lived here, the mountains of the Andes had not yet formed.
That's why we have to avoid shooting the mountains in the background to make it look like the period, because it would have been fairly lush and hot.
For someone recreating a lost world, these strange-looking trees are reason enough to travel halfway around the planet. They have changed little since prehistoric times, when herds of Argentinosauruses fed from their upper branches, raking off the foliage with curved, pencil-thin teeth.
The trees genetically are identical to the ones that the dinosaurs would have been walking around. They look like something right out of a kid's book on prehistoric life.
The monkey puzzle trees are a backdrop for Animation Train and his colleagues are preparing back in Toronto for WSB-TV and the Fernbank Museum of Natural History. The finished sequence will depict the moments leading up to a fierce battle between the world's largest meat eater and the world's largest plant eater. Hall Train Studio has also been commissioned by Dino Don Lessem to create the life-size skeletal display of Argentinosaurus facing off against Giganotosaurus in Fernbank's Great Hall. Computer graphics have been used to create a flock of prehistoric birds that will take flight as the giants are about to clash.
These are little pterosaurs that had like a 4-foot wingspan that lived in and around the time and place of the two animals. They're also going to be recreated in the hall as a flock of 20, and there are 20 in the animation here.
But Argentinosaurus and Giganotosaurus themselves are not being rendered on a computer.
This is what dinosaurs really look like.
Instead, the animators are using a blue screen and stop-action photography.
It makes it more lifelike.
And more tedious. Working one frame at a time, Tim Snyder stops between each shot to make tiny adjustments to this custom-made Giganotosaurus model.
So he has total movement in every single direction, up and down and over and across and wherever you want to go.
A high-tech imaging system enables Snyder to see exactly what changes he's making from shot to shot.
And what that does is it tells me exactly how far I moved the animal. So basically what we have is two images dissolving together.
This will be composited into a background, a very low-angle shot that I shot down in Argentina where we were kind of looking up at the sky.
What the camera does not see is this. The detail in Train's dinosaurs is so painstaking, so accurate, he and his team have completed only as much of the model as they have to.
It's a lot of work to get worthwhile results.
But the results are worthwhile. The life-size display at Fernbank poses other challenges.
What we're attempting to do here, and I think it's a really nice idea, is to create kind of a sense of an environment.
In addition to Argentinosaurus, Giganotosaurus, and a flock of Pterodastra, the plans call for 2 Anhangera, flying dinosaurs with 19-foot wingspans. But the actual fossils are far too delicate to cast. So Train and his colleagues work from detailed photographs and drawings to sculpt precise replicas. The clay bones are then cast and reproduced using a mixture of liquid plastic and silicone.
It's kind of hard to imagine something more fulfilling than this.
Hall Train used to direct television commercials, and he was good at it. In fact, he won just about every award in his field. And then suddenly, he changed careers.
The transition was abrupt. I just woke up one morning and decided that all I was going to do was dinosaur stuff.
Friends thought the move was brainless. He thought it was a no-brainer.
I knew that there was enough bad stuff being done and that I could do better stuff.
Hall Train adds last-minute touches to the Anhangera as they're assembled in the Fernbank atrium, with the public looking on.
Pretty sharp teeth. You wouldn't want to get bitten by that, would you?
For the first time in millions and millions of years, an Anhangara takes flight. Anita Kern, the museum's director of exhibits and education, is on hand to watch this early stage of the Great Hall's transformation.
There he goes.
With one of the dinosaurs suspended from the ceiling, Train situates its partner in a perched position nearby. The project takes an entire weekend, but there is much more difficult work to come.
It's going to beat the pants off anything out there.
Building a full-sized Argentinosaurus, the largest dinosaur ever to walk the Earth, will not be nearly this simple.
It's an interesting technical problem because of its extreme size.
What's more, Hall Train will not be able to build this most impressive of giant dinosaurs in the comfort of his studio in Toronto, where materials and skilled workers are readily available. Instead, he will have to teach the art of dinosaur making to manual laborers in Plaza Huincul, the small town in Argentina closest to where Argentinosaurus was discovered.
It's an interesting technical problem because of its extreme size. And so that's something that we had to teach them, is how do you deal with, you know, things that are this big, making molds that are this big. Also teaching them to use different materials that we specially brought in for the project.
Yet, despite the enormity of this task, if you'll forgive the pun, Hall Train is optimistic, even excited, about the prospect of bringing a new industry to people who badly need it.
There could be a really great industry, and it's great to be part of the kind of like the pioneering of that.
Coming up, Argentinosaurus versus Giganotosaurus. But for those recreating this dramatic scene, the real battle is making sure the facts are right.
We return to Land of the Giants.
We have known for some time that another dominant species walked this planet long before the first human being. Now, the most exciting story to hit paleontology in decades has been unearthed in faraway Argentina.
Here in the windswept badlands of Patagonia, significant discoveries are being made. And what makes these dinosaurs different is their size.
Any idea as to why the size seems to be so much greater here?
That's a good question, and so far we cannot answer it.
And so it is the job of Fernbank researchers to fill in the blanks. There is no question that the enormous display will be visually impressive, but that is not enough. It must also tell a true story. Once upon a time, the world was a very different place than we know today. Mankind was only a rough idea scribbled on a cosmic chalkboard, perhaps nothing more than the backup plan. Millions of times the sun rose and set, never seen by human eyes, but it was seen.
That's what's so amazing, is that not only is this the only museum where you can see this, but we're the first people who can ever imagine and picture this world. We weren't even able to picture this 10 years ago.
What would happen if the world's largest plant eater squared off against the world's largest meat eater? The experts are uncertain. The sheer size of Argentinosaurus would make her difficult prey. Even a predator as ferocious as Giganotosaurus might be little more than an annoyance, something like a terrier nipping at her feet. Or maybe Giganotosaurus went right for the underbelly, using its long, sharp teeth to tear deep, fatal slashes.
In a battle between an Argentinosaurus and a Giganotosaurus, who would win?
It could be a very nasty thing. I have no idea.
It is unlikely, however, that Giganotosaurus and Argentinosaurus ever actually met. Evidence suggests they lived at different times, but each would have encountered creatures very similar to one another. And Fernbank's scientific advisors say the scene they are building is an accurate depiction of life and perhaps death in the land of the giants.
Is that a likely scenario?
Sure. Even considering that these two different species didn't live together at the same time, the picture is very accurate.
Accuracy is critical to those building the exhibit at Fernbank, so much so that even the ground upon which the dinosaurs once walked is of importance. These tracks, uncovered when a nearby lake receded, are all that remains of the dinosaurs that once walked in this very spot. They are half a world away from Atlanta, but you will see ones just like them at Fernbank. A team of researchers from Fernbank spends days in Argentina, searching for material to include in the base of the dinosaur exhibit in Atlanta. Their greatest finds come not in the field, but at a dilapidated university museum in the city of Neuquén.
Truly, we really didn't know what we were expecting, did we? We kind of wanted to see what was there.
The museum would yield one astounding surprise after another.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, I had never seen so many fossils, and they're just all spread out. They have so many they can't even, I mean, they're documented, they're numbered, but they're just, you know, they're one's laying on top of another because they're just running out of space. They have so many fossils.
Some of these fossils are thought to be entirely new species. Yet, from the time something interesting is removed from the ground, it will be about 6 years before anyone studies the material and tries to identify it.
There were just shelves and racks after racks of fossil material. It was just like being in that scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was shelving to the ceiling, and it was just aisle after aisle of dinosaur fossils, you know, stuffed on shelves.
Original? Original, yes.
Oh.
The treasure trove of fossils on display here are real, not reproductions like most museums in the United States.
Now this one around the corner is original and this one's original.
Including a large section of rock lifted right out of the ground and showing the very distinctive tracks of a pterosaur.
They look pretty cool to me.
Yeah, I mean,
that's amazing.
There were some tracks from the pterosaurs showing those kind of odd four-legged type tracks, which were really quite distinctive. That was a real find. That was significant for me.
This was a huge block with hundreds of tracks, but we just take some of them.
The museum's director, Dr. Jorge Calvo, explained the reason actual fossils are on display. Money. The university simply cannot afford to make casts.
In our groundwork, we particularly are interested in some of the other animals that lived at the same time with the Giganotosaurus and or Argentinosaurus.
Or we can make that if you want.
Yeah, I think we would be very interested in something like that.
In exchange for a donation from Fernbank, Dr. Calvo proves to be far more helpful than Anita Kern and her team could ever have hoped. When we return, something old, something new. The wedding between ancient history and modern science brings the world's largest dinosaur back to life.
We return to Land of the Giants.
The International Space Station, a testament to mankind's achievement and a reminder of how far life evolved since the age of dinosaurs. But the 21st century technology that's made it possible also has been used to reach into the distant past. The Canadarm, a device that crawls around the station like an inchworm, performing various tasks, was designed and manufactured at the McDonnell Detweiler Aerospace Facility in Toronto. This is where paleo artist Hall Train worked with McDonnell Detweiler engineers to construct the animatronic Triceratops that now entertains crowds at Universal's Islands of Adventure in Orlando. And here, Hall Train turned to old friends for help filling in the missing pieces of Argentinosaurus.
Angle the bone just a little bit more this way so we get...
We know that Argentinosaurus was a type of plant-eating dinosaur known as a sauropod, larger than but very similar to a number of other sauropods. So their bones have been scanned into an aerospace computer, where a sophisticated software program created by McDonnell Detweiler renders them as 3D images that can be manipulated with a click of a mouse. Manipulated meaning enlarged.
Any missing bones in between, say ribs, we can scale one down or scale one up or merge it between the two, so it is slightly different for each rib. And we can actually lay out a dinosaur.
Train has come up with a new technique that will use the computer images as exact blueprints.
Yeah, I think slicing it. We can choose whichever axis we want to slice up using this method. And we can choose the number of cross sections.
The right angles to it.
This revolutionary technique will ensure scientific accuracy while providing Train and his team the simplest way possible to fill in the missing pieces of Argentinosaurus. That work will take place not in the comfort of Train's studio in Toronto, but in distant Plaza Huincul, Argentina.
This place is so remote it would appear nothing ever happens here. In fact, the biggest news in Plaza Huincul is millions of years old.
In a rundown shack behind the local museum, something is happening that might appear very odd anywhere else. Under the guidance of Hall Train, the world's largest dinosaur is slowly starting to take shape.
No, it really will be absolutely an astounding exhibit.
Although he is called a paleo artist, Train says there is more science here than art.
I try to keep art out of it.
Wherever possible, duplicates have been cast from the actual bones of Argentinosaurus.
This bone here, this big, huge bone here, if you reach around the back of your neck and you feel like a little lump at the base of your neck, that's what that bone is on this animal.
Unfortunately, Train does not have any prehistoric DNA from which to clone the missing 80% of Argentinosaurus. So he uses a substance far more readily available: styrofoam.
So those registration points allow us to line everything up perfectly.
This is where the sliced bone images from McDonald Detweiler come in handy.
The images are projected and cut out and then stacked. And what happens is you end up with objects that have sort of a steppy look to them.
Plaza Huincul itself provided the perfect implement for further shaping.
This is a number 4 rock. We've actually invented tools for doing this, and nothing works quite as good as just a rock.
And no one works quite as hard as a proud native of Plaza Huincul.
It hasn't been that difficult for us to train these guys to do it. It's been a real pleasure, actually. And these guys just, when they get their hands on this material, they go crazy. They love it. It feels great to, hopefully be helping some people out, get them started in the industry.
A town almost as dead as the dinosaurs is starting to show signs of life again. A cottage industry has grown around the little museum, and the work of its curator, Dr. Rodolfo Correa.
And also you can see the cultural transformation that is happening in this town. 10 years ago, dinosaurs was a completely unknown word, and now you have stores and different kind of companies and groceries and whatever with a dinosaur logo or a dinosaur related thing. And I think that's a very neat cultural transformation, and I'm very happy to be part of this transformation.
The key part of this transformation, you, I would imagine, are a local hero here.
No, I don't think so. I'm just a local crazy man about bones.
Still, ask any student at Plaza Huincul's century-old elementary school to name one of Argentina's giant dinosaurs, and you'll likely get the entire name.
El dinosaurio Carolini.
Not just Giganotosaurus, but Giganotosaurus carolini.
In Plaza Huincul, they are very proud of the things that we're doing in this museum.
So central are dinosaurs to life here in Plaza Huincul that the mayor of this town has commissioned the construction of this huge replica of an Argentinosaurus. He's using scrap metal from a petrochemical plant that closed down.
This junkyard dinosaur may prove to be an enduring symbol of the past and the future for Plaza Huincul. But Fernbank officials want their presentation of Argentinosaurus to be a little more scientific.
Next, putting together the puzzle. But do the pieces fit?
Kept raising the forklift higher and higher until the forklift wouldn't go any higher.
It's a dinosaur of a problem.
We return to Land of the Giants.
We got a skull. An unusual shipment has arrived at Hartsfield International Airport. After long months in Argentina, Hall Train has finally brought Argentinosaurus to the United States. Of course, she is not quite herself yet.
When this stuff gets a paint job on it, it'll look totally real.
The next phase takes place in a garage at the headquarters of WSB-TV Channel 2.
Although this space is far too small for the creature to be fully assembled, a team of experts brought in by Dino Don Lessem will piece together large sections of the beast here.
It's the first time it's ever been built, and it's probably 2 to 3 times bigger than what I'm used to working with.
I made a point in this project, partly out of desperation and ignorance, to hire the most brilliant people.
Weeks, the paleo artists identify a major problem with the armature, a metal framework upon which the replica bones are supposed to fit. But they aren't fitting, and the armature, made of solid iron, is too heavy to adjust.
We tried to make it work, really tried.
Julia Fitzke has built other dinosaurs, but never one so big. No one has, so no one knows what to do.
The most essential part of this entire project is the armature, because if that doesn't go together correctly, there's no way that we can articulate the bones properly onto the iron.
The owner of a local welding company comes to the rescue. Sandy McGehee donates warehouse space and an entirely new armature, this one made of lightweight aluminum.
Every day there's a different little crisis, and every day it gets solved, fortunately.
The smallest thing here with this animal is a really big, difficult thing.
Sue Frary, supervising the dinosaur assembly with her partner John Griffith, says Sandy McGehee literally saved the day.
It wouldn't have happened at all. It would have been a dead project.
Yet, as the world's largest dinosaur goes up, even McGehee's warehouse proves too small.
I don't think any of us really understood or expected it to be as big as it was. We kept raising the forklift higher and higher until the forklift wouldn't go any higher.
In fact, Argentinosaurus has actually grown since Hall Train made his original calculations.
So the whole backbone is actually much higher than it's depicted in this drawing. It actually comes up to about here.
5 feet taller than expected. And that's not all.
And then in the very end, when they laid all the vertebrae out, including the tail and neck, it was 25 feet longer.
Suddenly, there was a very real concern. Would Argentinosaurus even fit in Fernbank's Great Hall? One way or another, Atlanta was about to find out. Just ahead, for years they lived in his imagination. Now, Dr. Rodolfo Correa is about to see the world's largest creatures, along with the rest of Atlanta.
Oh my.
We return to Land of the Giants.
This reception for President Bush marks the very last time a crowd this large will fit inside Fernbank's Great Hall. The next day, Argentinosaurus takes over.
They're cool and they're interesting to look at. What?
We wanted to show the dinosaurs in a position that they might have had in life.
Every time I'd come back to Fernbank to remeasure and check something out, the room kept getting smaller. And it did, it scared me because I thought, whoa, the room is shrinking and he keeps getting bigger.
Give people an impression of what the animal looked like, and
just to fill people with awe.
Among the onlookers is Sandy McGehee, whose generosity saved the project.
What moved you to do that?
John, I'm an Atlantan. I'm proud of Fernbank. I'm proud of this dinosaur. I'm proud of the city.
After 10 years, the Great Hall is living up to its name.
10 years may seem like quite a while to wait until you consider how long it's been since these dinosaurs last stood on Earth. This may be the largest, most spectacular prehistoric scene ever created for a museum. A battle of monsters pitting the largest plant eater in the world against the largest meat eater in the world.
After 10 days, Anita Kern, Hall Train, and Dino Don Lessem attached the head of Argentinosaurus to the rest of its skeleton. 126 feet long, the dinosaur wraps around 3/4 of the Great Hall.
It's on!
For the first time in nearly 100 million years, the world can see the actual size of Argentinosaurus, next to Giganotosaurus.
He's standing beside his dinner companion here, and it just dwarfs him. It is a relief to have it over with.
It's the largest dinosaur in the world. I think a lot of people will come to Atlanta to see this display.
One person who comes to Atlanta to see it is Rodolfo Correa.
Oh my. Oh my.
Argentinosaurus has lived for so long only in his imagination that the paleontologist from Argentina is overcome with awe.
This is the biggest skeleton ever mounted. I want to see it closer.
In the days to come, Hall Train completes the scene with a flock of 20 flying pterosaurs. They appear to be taking flight, as if startled by the fighting dinosaurs below. There is even a story in the ground beneath the feet of these gigantic creatures, a detailed ground peel full of authentic material from the era. Here, actual fossils, hand-picked from the greatest museums of Argentina, have been cast for the very first time.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The exhibit officially opens, a stunning display, millions of years in the making. It is as important to Argentina as it is to Atlanta, and as much a testament to man as to the amazing beasts who lived here before us. Still ahead, the land of the giants continues to yield new discoveries.
Land of the Giants, a special presentation of WSB-TV. Produced in cooperation with the Fernbank Museum of Natural History.
In the Patagonian desert, Dr. Rodolfo Correa continues the search for new giants.
Are you hopeful that you will find a dinosaur bigger than Argentinosaurus?
I hope not. It's a lot of work. I don't have the back of 10 years ago.
Recently, however, Dr. Correa made a spectacular discovery that could add volumes to our understanding of dinosaur behavior. The remains of 5 huge meat eaters, very similar to Giganotosaurus, all in a single location.
And if they die together, maybe they lived together.
These meat eaters were hunting very large dinosaurs, Argentinosaurus. I mean, would it not make a certain amount of sense that they would have to hunt in groups in order to bring down this prey?
It makes sense.
This would really revolutionize all thought about how these creatures lived and hunted.
Well, yes, you're right. It's a good amount of evidence that's to suggest a kind of social behavior.
Dr. Correa believes the land of the giants has only begun to yield its secrets.
So there is a lot of chances to find new things out there. So I would say in the next 2 decades, our knowledge about the evolution of dinosaurs in this area maybe will be completely different than the one we have now.
The question is not whether new giants will be found, but rather how soon it will happen.
In fact, someone could stumble across one tomorrow. I'm John Pruitt. Thanks for being with us.